I'm Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, now trying a totally new social network concept, Waypoint Social. Ask me anything. Hi, I'm Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia and co-founder of Wikia, now renamed to fandom.com. And now I've launched https://Waypoint Social, a completely independent organization from Wikipedia or Wikia. https://Waypoint Social is an outgrowth and continuation of the Wiki Tribune pilot project. It is my belief that existing social media isn't good enough, and it isn't good enough for reasons that are very hard for the existing major companies to solve, because their very business model drives them in a direction that is at the heart of the problems. Advertising only social media means that the only way to make money is to keep you clicking, and that means products that are designed to be addictive, optimized for time on site, number of ads you see, and as we have seen in recent times, this means content that is divisive, low quality, clickbait, and all the rest. It also means that your data is tracked and shared directly and indirectly with people who aren't just using it to send you more relevant ads, basically an okay thing, but also to undermine some of the fundamental values of democracy. I have a different vision. Social media with no ads and no paywall, where you only pay if you want to. This changes my incentives immediately. You'll only pay if, in the long run, you think the site adds value to your life, to the lives of people you care about, and society in general. So rather than having a need to keep you clicking above all else, I have an incentive to do something that is meaningful to you. Does that sound like a great business idea? It doesn't to me, but there you go. That's how I've done my career so far. Bad business models. I think it can work anyway, and so I'm trying. TL. Dr. Social media companies suck. Let's make something better. What do you think is the best example that you can specifically point to which shows just how wrong traditional social media is? I've been personally accused of horrible crimes on Twitter. I put up with a lot of insults, but you know, there is a line where it's just not okay. So I reported it to Twitter. I got back a response saying we don't see a terms of service violation here basically. I emailed Jack and he apologized and said they would take care of it, but I was like, that misses my point entirely. I'm me. I can email Jack Dorsey. I can't imagine what a nightmare it is for many vulnerable people who have no ability to do anything about it. How much do you feel you learned about human nature from watching them interact on large scales? So the main thing is that contrary to what badly designed software on the internet tends to teach us, it turns out that, just as in real life, pretty much most people are nice. Out of every 1,000 people I think 990 of them are perfectly nice and wonderful, 9 of them are super annoying, but not really actively malicious. And then there's that one. So most internet software is designed around that one, with everything set to maximum defense mode and giving no real power to the 990. The wiki philosophy is different. Everyone can edit everything. Everyone has power, and we still have to cope with the 9 annoying ones and really deal, banhammer, with the one. But most people are nice, and I think that's a pretty good thing. How are posts ranked? Any system introduces different incentives, some good, some bad. Do you see any bad incentives arising from your system, non-ad based, and how do you believe the community or the platform can deal with that? For instance, to narrow down the topic, a system that 100% community determined and zero profit seeking distortions may still cause problems. For example, if you rank topics depending on network or this person viewed this, and that it easily can generate cliques and bubbles. Do you have plans to maybe break such bubbles? Perhaps a quasi-fairness doctrine that makes two communities that are distant enough see each other, maybe even an alternative viewpoint sidebar. I love your thinking. I think the same way. And I don't pretend to have all the answers right now. I wish I were omniscient and could tell you a magic formula which simultaneously solves all the problems, but I'm not. However, I think by paying attention to exactly the things you mentioned, and a few more besides, is the right way forward. I have said for a long time that I wish Facebook would have a setting. Instead of showing you things we think you will like, we want to show you things we think you'll disagree with, but which we have signals that suggest they are of quality. There's nothing better, really, than finding something challenging and interesting that I disagree with, but for which I have to concede. It makes me think. Do you plan on hiring large machine learning teams to create your targeting algorithms? What sort of monetary investment do you guys have in this project? Also, I have a follow-up question. What are your thoughts on an internal social credit system? People who have internal reputations of judging things fairly or making quality posts end up having a disproportionate influence on the underlying algorithm's decision to show the content you're endorsing to other people, obviously with the disproportionality bounded. I prefer humans to machine learning, but obviously I'm keeping an eye on all developments. Monetary investment? I think I'm in so far for about $500,000. I'm bootstrapping from nothing, and I don't have any immediate plans to raise money, although that could change. Right now I'm all about carefully maintaining creative control, and taking investment too early wouldn't be consistent with that. Is there incentive for companies to use your site to promote their products on personal pages? Or is this focused on individuals? What is your opinion of a company like BBC or CNN sharing links to their news stories? Conversely, could a company such as Mars run a promotion on their personal Mars page? We are still very much in the thinking stages about what boundaries should be. My view is that I don't have all the answers here, but that if we have the right incentives, we, as a community, can get to a good place. Let's think about a spectrum. Serious news outlet posting links to news. That doesn't seem very problematic to me. Mars posting content about Mars, which is collaboratively editable, in an appropriate place, subwiki about Mars, could be okay or not. I'd need to see it, and think about it. A random company posting promotional crap all over the site, totally not okay. The key is, the judgment of the community will have power. I love the idea that the judgment of the community will have power. I do worry, though, about how susceptible it might be to sabotage. If our community of 100 people agreed that Mars shouldn't be able to post promotional stuff, then Mars would be barred from doing so. But if Mars paid a social media consultant to operate 500 accounts, then our community of 600 people would likely be okay with it, right? That kind of tactic doesn't work well at Wikipedia. The key is, if your system has easily gameable voting mechanisms, you can expect it to be games. But if it's based on genuine dialogue, well, anyone can enter that discussion. No, it isn't perfect, but in my experience it works pretty well. How did you keep track of the misinformation people purposely put onto Wikipedia when it first started out? Because everything is collaboratively editable, anyone who tried to put misinformation into Wikipedia, or tries today, generally finds it difficult in the face of a community of goodwill. People who persist get blocked. It isn't perfect, but as we've seen, it works pretty well. It works pretty well, because as it turns out, most people are basically nice. Not everyone, so we can't be naive about it, but pretty much most people are nice. I'm really interested in some of the design decisions that went into promoting positive behaviors and making it difficult to behave poorly. Can you shed any light on these? As a studying designer, it is extremely interesting. Well, let me give the simplest example, but we are a very long way from having the platform completed. On Twitter it's super easy to troll. Just create a throwaway account. Using the @functionality start posting things to famous accounts that are plausible but provocative. When they respond, launch into a racist rant. When people see it there are only 3 things they can do. Block you, which helps them but no one else. Yell at you, yay Twitter flame war, or report you to an overworked and underpaid bunch of people who can't cope with the volume at all. In a wiki, collaboratively editable, anyone on the platform can remove the racist rant immediately, which makes the trolling a lot less fun, as your power to cause people to see it unwillingly is minimized. This introduces other possible problems, but now we are down a design path that says, how do we devolve genuine power into the community? Hello, Mr. Wales. As a hobbyist musician I frequently feel forced to use social media outlets to increase my online presence and make myself heard. What would Waypoint Social mean for content creators such as myself, especially the ones who are mostly interested in sharing their content as opposed to profiting from it? I think one of the biggest things could be genuine organic reach, rather than paid reach. Most social media makes you pay to get your message out, rather than people finding it organically. Like, if you post on Facebook, when you have 10,000 followers, how many of them actually see it, unless you pay? Will I be able to use Waypoint Social for purely social purpose, blocking all advertising/promotional content, at least as well as I could expect among a gathering of friends? Sure. What online communities besides ones you preside over, you think get it right? If any? I think some areas of Reddit really get it right, but I also think, sorry Reddit, that is somewhat despite the community model here, in which mods of individual subreddits have nearly absolute power. It's just, some people/communities are good at it here, and I think that's lovely. Given low financial resources, compared to the big players, how will you be able to prevent malicious actors, for example, ISIS, from using your platform to spread hate? Community control is strong. You see, one of the biggest problems with existing social media is that their fundamental paradigm doesn't scale well. Users have very little power, except to block each other, which doesn't help others, to yell at people, unpleasant and leads to flame wars, or reporting, to paid staff who are overworked and underpaid and get it wrong quite a lot as a result. Basically, genuine community control is what makes wikis work. What are your plans to deal with highly controversial conversations, hate speech, and possibly blurred moral lines in heated discussions? As an example, to provide some perspective, let's say, something like discussing Islam in the context of terrorism. Everything on the platform, just about, is collaboratively editable, and so I expect that we'll see community norms arise which quickly eliminate such things. My view is that there is usually a bigger problem with thoughtful conversations about potentially emotionally difficult topics in areas where the software design means that the only thing you can do about a troublemaker is block them, for yourself, yell at them, or report them. Better tools mean a better environment. When you started Wikipedia, did you think most people would be as courteous and good about editing content and not letting it become a hellhole of misinformation and a-hole behavior? Wikipedia is one site I can trust my kids to go to for information with my having to police it. Thank you for this and so much more. Thank you. And of course it isn't perfect, but yes, I find that most people are courteous and good. It was something of a revelation to me. I have to say that in the early days I would sometimes get up in the middle of the night to check the site because I thought someone would come in and wreck it all. How can we be sure that it does not get corrupt in the long run? I think the business model helps. People will only pay if they are getting value from it. But of course there's never a perfect guarantee that anything will remain perfect in the longest of long runs. But good values and a strong community helps. Why does Wikipedia constantly beg for donations and talk about going under when they have a large reserve of money? Wikipedia has to take fundraising seriously. Many of our donors cite as a major value that Wikipedia should be safe. People really wouldn't like it if we were not stably funded and largely by small donations. The independence of Wikipedia would be at risk if we didn't run the organization in a thoughtful and financially responsible way, building our reserves over the years.